All right, so today we're going to do just a few more example equations using the multiplication and addition property of equality. And most of these are going to be combined type of questions. And then, of course, if you have questions on the homework or the problems afterwards, just go ahead and reach out to me and we'll go ahead and take care of that. Right, so here I have y minus 7 is equal to negative 3 minus 12. First, I want to identify where my y is at, and my y is right here. And remember, my goal is to have y on one side and everything else over to the other. Before I start moving anything across this equal sign, I want to combine like terms on either side if I can. So y and 7, they're not like terms, so I can't do anything with that. But I have a negative 3 minus 12 over here. And I can go ahead and combine them, so I'm going to do that first. So I have negative 3 minus 12, that's going to give me negative 15. And my y minus 7 didn't change. Okay, now I see that I have y minus 7 is equal to negative 15. Okay. So now I just need to get the 7 and move it over to the other side. And I do that by doing the opposite of minus 7, which is plus 7. And I must do that to both sides. These 7s are going to cancel out. And I'm left with y on this side. So y is equal to negative 15 plus 7, which is negative 8. Right? Looking at the next example, I have negative 4y minus 13y is equal to 18. Now my number is over here by itself, but I have two different y's here that I can go ahead and combine. And when I go ahead and subtract 4 from 13, 13's bigger, so I keep the negative sign. And I end up with negative 9y. And that's going to be equal to 18. Now here's where I use the multiplication property of equality, and because I am multiplying negative 9 times y, I need to undo this by dividing by negative 9. Remember, the negative goes with it. Whatever I do to one side, I go ahead and do to the other side. I'm dividing the second side by negative 9. Now over here, these cancel, leaving me with just the y by itself, which is what I want. And then I have 18 divided by negative 9. First of all, a positive divided by a negative is going to give me a negative. I always figure out my signs first so I avoid any sign errors. And 18 divided by 9 is 2. All right. And I totally encourage, as going through these, you're welcome to try them first and then turn on the video and see how it's worked out to see if you're correct. This is also a great way for you to keep on practicing and also get instant feedback on your problems. Right, so over here, the third one, I have x divided by negative 3 is equal to 15 minus 7. Identify where your equal sign is at. And over here, I can go ahead and combine those terms. Okay, so if I have 15 and a minus 7, my 15 is positive, my 7 is negative, I end up with 8, which is going to be equal to x divided by negative 3. Now x and negative 3 are, there's division going on. In order to undo division, I have to go ahead and multiply. And because it's a fraction, I like to make my multiplication a fraction. You don't have to. And on the other side, obviously it's a whole number. I don't need to write negative 3 over 1. I can just write negative 3. These are going to cancel out. I'm left with x over 1, which is just x. And 8 times negative 3, which is negative 24. Okay, remember, you can always check these. In addition, I'm not doing any checking in this video, but you can go ahead, totally take your number that you get, plug it in to the original equation, and see if you get a solution. Okay, see if they're equal to each other. Okay, the next one here, we have a set of parentheses, and that set of parentheses is being multiplied by 2. And on the other side, we have 5x. This is the first one we've had, at least here, where we have x's in two different places. Okay, so we'll have to do a little bit more work here. First, I want to look at my parenthesis. My parenthesis doesn't contain like terms, and because it does not, I have to go ahead and utilize the distribution property so that I can go ahead and free those numbers in parentheses. So I have 2 times 2x. So 2 times 2 is 4. The x comes along for the ride. I have -7 or -7 times 2. A negative and a positive is going to give me a negative. And 2 times 7 is 14. And that's going to be equal to my 5x, which I've done nothing for. Right, now there's a couple ways you can go ahead and do this. I can actually finish this in one step, and that's how I'm going to kind of do this. It doesn't matter what side my variable is on, and I know many of you have been told you always got to have your variable on the left-hand side, always got to have your variable on the left-hand side. For equations, that's not true. I try to go the easiest route possible. And the easiest thing to do is because this 14 is by himself already, there's no other numbers left over, it's going to be easier to take this 4x and move it over here with the 5x, and then I'll already my x's will be on one side and my numbers will be on the other. And I may have one more step, I may not after that, but I'll be almost there. All right, so in order to undo this 4x, now it has no sign in front of it, we have to assume it's a positive or a plus. And in order to undo a positive or a plus, we have to do the opposite, which is a negative or a minus. And the x needs to go along with it. So we need to take the whole term 4x. That whole thing needs to move over to the other side. So this is a subtraction, and I'm going to subtract 4x over to the other side also. These are going to cancel out. What's left over is my -14. All I have to do is figure out the other side. So I have 5 minus 4, which is 1. And it's 1x or just x. And it doesn't matter that it's on that side. I don't care if it's over there as long as it's by itself. If you wanted to reverse it because it makes you happy, you have x is equal to -14. You just switch them around. Okay? Last one we're going to do is this one. This has a whole lot going on. So let's take this one step at a time. I'm going to go ahead and do the left side first because I have 2 numbers. And I can go ahead and do that. So if I have 3 minus 7, okay, that means I spent more money than I had, and I'm left with a -4. Okay, so that side is as simple as it's going to get. The next side here, I have a negative and a set of parentheses with 2 items that are not identical in any way, and then a -27 on the outside. Remember, when we have a negative on the outside of a set of parentheses, we assume it's distribution by -1, and all that's going to do is change my signs of whatever is inside my set of parentheses. So what I have inside my parentheses is a -8x, because it was positive, now it's going to be negative, and -6 because it was plus, now it's minus, and then -27. These 2 items here can be combined, so I need to go ahead and do that next. So my -4 here still exists, my -8x still exists, and I have -6 minus 27. So -6 minus 27 is going to give me a negative, remember same sign, 33. All right, now I have everything under control. Only thing I need to do is go ahead and move this -33 across the equal sign to the other side. So all I've been doing is combining like terms, as if that equal sign didn't exist. Now I'm ready to move that -33 over to the other side. And I do that by adding 33. Because remember, you have to do opposite. These are going to cancel. And I have 33 minus 4, which is going to give me 29. Okay? On the other side, I have my minus 8x. This one is not going to turn out to be a nice whole number when we're done. That's totally okay. It happens. All right. What I need to do next now is separate the negative 8 and the x. So they're bound by multiplication. In this case, I need to go ahead and divide. My negative 8's here and the negative signs are going to cancel, leaving me with just x. And x is going to be equal to, now 8 and 29, there's nothing can happen there. Okay, those 8 doesn't divide in evenly, so you can just leave it as the fraction that it is, and it is already fully simplified. So once in a while they do not turn out to be nice whole numbers. Most of the ones you've been given so far you can, and you will, but I want you to realize with this particular example you can end up with fractional answers. And when we have a fractional answer, we have to mind our fraction rules, which is it fully simplified? All right. And make sure that the negative ends up where we want it. If it's negative, don't forget to rewrite it. All right, so go ahead and work on the practice examples, and I'll see you in the next video.